Hey there guys, and welcome to a tutorial for Starshelter. If you're looking for actual gameplay, then please check out the link cropping up above on the top right of your screen. This is going to be focusing mainly on the car features of the game and so forth. So, first thing we're going to do, we're just going to take a look at some of the options that you have. So, if you click the top tab on your wrist, you got things like controls, graphics, and audio. So we'll have a look at the controls. Now I'm using a Rift, so anything that I discuss in here is based on Rift controls, and I choose this setting where I can use the grip to grip, which I find more natural. Otherwise, by default, it's your trigger. Rotate plays space, that allows you to turn around using your analog stick to rotate in the game space. Really handy for those who are only forward facing players. And gradual rotation is, well, at this time it's not hugely different, but it's a bit more of a smoother turning around. But I think they need to work on that. It's still, still spins around pretty quick. Okay, so that's the controls. Quite simple. Graphics. So, show body. We've got a body here. You can have that on or off. I think that'll only adjust after either restart or when you start your new game. Show user interface. So that's the display that crops up in your visor in front of you. So you can have that on or off. When I'm creating my videos, I turn that off, but I keep it on when I'm in my normal gameplay. Shadows. A little bit of a extra detail in game. Can affect performance depending on your system. Ambient occlusion as well. I think that's to spruce up the lighting a little bit more. Again, down to preference and how your system is going to handle things. Okay, frames per second. That I think should either balance it out or something like that. I'm not too sure about that really. Audio, very basic. You can control sound effects and voice separately. Be handy. Turning the voice off. Might turn off that nag female voice. So leave that at default, I think. So looking at your wrist again, we got this, the objectives. This will come up when you start your game, giving you some objectives like planting plots and all that. And it'll clear as you've progressed, obviously. Here, this is where, when you've been salvaging around the world, it will show the resources that you have. Now, at the moment, it only shows 2 things. As you progress and, grab more things, there'll be carbon. It'll fill up. You'll get a lot of different icons with different kinds of things that you salvaged. So, that's that. And then we've got this. When you crafted structures or anything else to place in the game world, access it from here. You got 3 tabs. You got defense, interior, and structures. You would choose one of them tabs. Your item will display here. I keep floating around, sorry guys. Your item will display here. You would choose it and then place it in your world. Okay, so now we've done that, let's have a look at our vitals. So here, at the top blue, we got O2 for oxygen. We got the apple, which is green, that's our food. Then we got power, which you'll gather in the world, and you've got your health. Very simple and basic things there to manage. Okay, so obviously while you're playing, keep an eye on these things. You don't want to be running out of any of them, especially that one. That goes, you're dead. Okay, now, save slots. Okay, so you got 3 slots. I'm using 2 of them. That's for my own gameplay in my personal time. That's for my YouTube gaming channel, the videos that I'm doing at the moment. And then I'm going to have a 3rd slot, which I'm going to use specifically for this tutorial. So, without further ado, I'm going to go into the game. Oh, before we do, it might be a good idea if you play the tutorial. That will give you the very basics for moving around in the world and, how the game functions. So I suggest you play the tutorial. And options, well, it's the same as what you got on your wrist, really. Okay, so I'm going to play a game. Now you start off in a pod. Each time you respawn in the world, you will, well, you'll be a new guy. See the information coming up in a moment. Just get past all this startup sequence. So yeah, this time I'm called Jay Lee. I'm age 36. Yeah. Other stuff like that. Each time you'll start off as a new character, but you'll spawn in the same world, and you will be able to access the ship. So any upgrades you will have already done to your base will still be present. You'll just lose any things that are on you. Oh, seems I've got to change. No. Yeah, for some reason the controls aren't sticking. The devs need to look into that. Right. So pull the lever down and flick it back up again, and we're in the world. Okay. A tip when navigating the world right now, not moving anywhere. Shut up. Now, for me, I will be using my triggers to move around. To move around, it uses air that sprays out of your jets here, so the direction you're pointing is the way you'll travel. Use it in bursts. That uses your oxygen, guys. I can't stress that anymore. Do not just keep hold of it. Let inertia just work its course. Once you get going, all you need to do, a gentle squirt, and hold on. Let me just turn that display off again. There we go. A gentle squirt will get you going. Don't press and hold it. It uses your oxygen, and trust me, if you're just spraying and moving around, you will die of suffocation.
There's metal scrap blocking the entrance. You have to toggle to construction mode and scavenge.
Okay. Now, construction mode on the Rift. What you will do, you can. It doesn't matter which hand you use, but in this case, I'm going to use my left hand. So tap the stick in. That will put me into construction mode. Now I'm going to press and hold my grip to salvage. There we go. Done. Now I'm going to turn that off. That when you're salvaging, that uses power. Okay, so be aware of that. In the game world, you will want to gather power as well as oxygen while you're exploring. So inside, we close. Okay. Right, now you can set these doors to automatic if you want. At this time, it's off. So I put it as automatic. When I go near the door, it will open and close when I move away. Let's just do that. There we go. And then when I get closer, it opens. I'm going to turn automatic off though. I prefer to do it manually. Right. Now then, we have this little panel in our airlock, contain oxygen, and it tells you the amount of contained oxygen. This is handy as you're passing in and out of the airlock, so you don't lose oxygen if you contain it. So I'll tap that. Usually it'll say how much oxygen is contained, so you're then free to go out of the base without losing oxygen. And when you come back in, you seal that door, release the oxygen. You're then able to breathe, or should be able to. I don't see the O2 oxygen because I've got the user interface turned off. So let's open this door, come inside, close. Right, okay. Now I am. It's safe for me to actually open my helmet. So if I touch near my face, I'll hear a little bit of I'll feel a little bit of feedback on my controller. Press trigger, lift it up. There we go. Right, repairing, same as salvaging, sort of. However, tap the control. Just tap it. Otherwise, what you'll find you'll be doing is you'll be removing the. Oh, shut up.
There's plenty of wreckages floating around that you can scavenge.
I'm sorry, guys. I need to sort that out. She's really getting on my nerves. Shut up. Right, thank you. Okay. Now, as I was saying, what you need to be careful with that. When you're doing a repair, you only want to tap your grip button or your trigger, whichever way you got it set up. Just tap it, because otherwise, if you press and hold it, you will remove the whole section. You do not want to be doing that. Yeah, you don't want to accidentally disassemble your ship. Okay. Now, to this panel. Now, this is the first thing you're going to come across when you come in. Here are your oxygen stats, how much is going in. So we've got 1 unit per second, loss 0.3 units per second. Now, immediately you'll find when you're actually coming in, your suit will start drawing the oxygen from within the base. You can stop that by tapping that, and that will stop draining the oxygen. You notice now loss is 0, so I'm no longer drawing oxygen from the base into my suit, although it could be handy because that recharges your oxygen in your suit. Here, power, gain, again, 0.15. As you develop your base, you put solar panels up and things like that, you'll actually get more power going in, which will be needed as you build your base out and start developing, because obviously everything's going to use power, especially crafting. Loss at the moment, nothing, because nothing's really draining the power. And we've got defenses. The defenses are the things that are really going to draw your power. Now, you can recharge this using canisters. As if by magic, I've actually got some here. So these are oxygen canisters which you find in the world, in space, are floating around. Gather these as much as you can. They're very handy. These are what you would use, or you will find in the game world. These blue ones are the oxygen canisters. Now, when you're out and about, you put that in your chest like so. Your suit will recharge with oxygen, and job's good. Or you can put it in your ship like that, and you instantly charge your ship up. Now, it will generate oxygen over time, but it depends on what's happening at the time, basically. So, obviously, if you got auto charge on, you will drain the ships or the base's oxygen. So that will go down. At the moment, it's at 90, but if I now turn on auto charge, notice it's going down, I've recharged my suit. Okay, now that's where oxygen plants will come in handy to make sure you've constantly got oxygen in your base. Now, power, again, same thing. Could take one of the canisters if you want to recharge the ship's base, the base power, and you put that in there, and once that starts going down, it'll drain that and top up the ship. Now, we can actually take a look at more things. It's got crafting, engineering, so you can actually craft the engineering crafting station. We actually have one already at the beginning of the game over there. You can see it just there. So that's not necessary at this time. However, might be handy when you've expanded your base and you start moving things around. Allow you to craft a brand new table, so then you can get your basics down. Archive shows you your stats. So total number of deaths. Interesting. Not too sure where it's getting that from. I'm assuming that's through playing the entire game as well. The all information about all the materials that you have, and as you can see, there's quite a number of materials and items that you would use for crafting. Okay, so there's quite a few things here, and they could all be managed in there. Information. So that's just basic information for you. So it tells you some basic facts about the game world and how things work. Okay, so your inventory, when you find things like these canisters in the world, you want to actually put them on your physical inventory. Now, you can do it with your left arm or your right arm, it's up to you. If on Rift, for your left arm, you will press Y. That'll bring it up there, and you could grab the object, just drop it in. Bear in mind, you can only keep so many objects in your inventory before it starts spitting them out. Or if I wanted, I could press B on my right arm and yeah, same thing, drop it in there. Okay. harvesting resources. Now, it's very tempting to just... I shouldn't really be doing gameplay tips. It's just a tutorial, but just a quick tip anyway. It's very tempting to just simply just go around all these satellites grabbing all these materials, but these won't provide everything you need for crafting. They're just the basics. But as before, just press and hold the trigger or your grip to salvage it. Now, if you look, when you're pointing at the objects, it will tell you what kind of materials you're going to gather. Now, that's very important to pay attention to, because when you're crafting, you want to know what kind of materials you're getting, and these will give you a good indication of what materials you'll get from the objects you're looking at. Now, to save oxygen when moving around, it might be a good idea if you grab, say, an object that you're close to. You can actually grab that and use that to slingshot you in a direction that you want to go. So, say I want to go to that satellite over there. I'm going to turn around a little bit and then just pull and let go as I go. And you see, I'm traveling. Free flight. No need to use up my oxygen, although I will have to use it anyway to probably correct. So I'm going to just do a little bit of correcting. Notice I'm only using very short bursts, like so. There we go. Right. Seeds and things like that, you'll find them free floating in space, and sometimes in base stations that you might find, abandoned stations. You want to gather as many of them as you can. So I'm going to pick that up, put that in my inventory. That'll be useful for crafting later time. Okay, so we've now got the basics. So I think the next part of the tutorial will be having a look at the crafting stations and how things are crafted and things like that. But if you found this tutorial useful, then please hit that like button, smash that like button even, hit subscribe. This is a handy thing for resources. Not telling me. Oh, there we go. Yeah, so we've got carbon, power, and other things like that. Yeah, definitely handy. Yeah, so smash that like button, hit subscribe, and yeah, thanks for watching. And I'll catch you in the next one, guys. Bye.